What is up, everybody? Today is going to be a race against time. I've got literally maybe an hour and a half of total time to fish, and on top of that, the wind's supposed to kick up to about 30 with gusts into the 40s in a few hours. So hopefully we can get on some fish before the wind picks up. All right, so let me reach back here. I got some gold fiddler crabs as well as some mud crabs and some Asian shore crabs that we're going to drop down on pilings. It is still October. In fact, I was going to go striper fishing, but it's hard for me to pass up on Sheepshead and Tautog when they're still around, knowing that, you know, the next few months it's going to drop temp wise and I'll be focusing mainly on stripers. But we'll start off the day with a fiddler crab. I got exactly 15, so I gotta make them each count. The other day we came out, had a phenomenal day sheepshead fishing. That was with just mud crabs, so see how we do. As you can tell, got the bucket with the lid. Made that mistake once, not doing that again, man. That mistake I'm talking about was about midway through the summer, went sheepshead fishing, and I accidentally, I had fiddler crabs that I caught in an open bucket and knocked them over while I was dumping a sheepshead back. And when I say I lost more than half of my bait, I mean, you see how fast fiddlers are. If you dump them in your kayak, more than likely they're going to find a way to escape. And I have two scupper holes that are underneath my seat, which makes it even easier for them to escape. They're not like the good old mud crabs that are very slow moving creatures. See if anybody's on this piling to start. Right now the conditions are perfect. I know perfect's kind of a I think it'd be an understatement, honestly. The other day we were out here, it was wind against tide, and it was almost a hassle just to hold where you were. Oh, there's a tap. Felt like a little tog though, if I'm being honest. Yeah, that's a little tog, I think. I could be wrong. Yeah, it's definitely a little tog. Yep. Telltale tog sign. Alright. Can't be mad at that start. He's probably about an inch under the legal limit here in New Jersey. Can't find that sweet spot right here. I might be off of it. Let me see if I can find it on this piling. Sometimes it takes a few drops to kind of figure out your bearings, where you can hold and where you can't. What did I just hook? Oh, it got me in there though. Tog, 100% tog. No, sheep. Wow, he was in there. Wow, wow, wow. That guy, I literally daydreaming here, dropping it down, and I'm like, I went to go close the bail, and my line just started going. These are the moments you fish for, man. It's almost November. It's in the 60s, air temp wise, water's still pretty warm. I could live like this, man. Ooh. That's a nice sheep too. I'll tell you what, he did not It could be because he was stuck behind a piling. He did not really fight like a sheepshead initially. He wasn't going anywhere, man. Look at that. Hooked in the side of the jaw. I'm gonna miss you, buddy. I'm gonna miss you when you head back offshore in a few weeks. Alright, so I just blindly dropped that last fiddler into the danger zone. That's what I call the area in the middle of all the pilings. It's very snag friendly because it usually holds fish, but sometimes I would consider it almost a 50-50 of you getting that fish out, especially a bigger fish that's smart and knows to run. I mean, if you could see where I'm dropping, if a fish runs to the right or left, or straight and then right or left, and you don't get him out, very high percentage chance you're not getting that fish out at all. And like I said in previous videos, man, I've caught so many sheepshead in my life that I don't get as heartbroken that I lost a fish like I would when I was younger, but I do feel bad that I'm leaving a fish with, you know, a metal jig in its mouth. I know they say they rust out, but I've caught my fair share of tog and sheepshead that had jigs in their, you know, stuck in their jaw that looked like they'd been there for a while. Especially with some of these brand hooks that they make these jigs with. They don't rust as easy as like the real cheap old school hooks that you used to use, like the bronze, the old school eagle claw, that you got a little bit of salt water in your pack, you could guarantee that it was going to be rusted the next time you went out fishing. Man, there's a lot of debris down there. As I'm just dropping that down, I could feel it hitting. I mean, you can see the pilings are pretty exposed right now. You just could picture as you go down them, more and more mussels, seaweed, just other types of growth. And that's what really brings these fish in, man. They just constantly feed on the crabs and barnacles and all the other things that grow on these pilings. Wow. There he is. There he is. He doesn't know he's hooked yet, I don't think. Now he does. A little bit of a delay on that one. Might be another sheep. I think it's one of the coolest things, man, with stripers and sheep. That initial hook set, when you feel the weight on your rod, and then you hear that real scream, man. There's nothing like it. I mean, you could see what I mean when I said I don't think he knew he was hooked. And this one's a little smaller than the first one, man. That's the crazy thing. I think he fought harder. I mean, look at this fish. He's not one that you're gonna, it's not one that you're gonna go to a taxidermist and mount, but still gonna give you a really good fight for his size. I would say, without measuring him, he's probably close to 18. To me, there's no point in measuring a fish unless it's like your PB, especially for how strong these fish are. I'd rather just let them go after a fight like that. Those last two sheepshead were two various depths, so they must be moving up and down One was higher up and one was much lower. Judging by the depth finder, it kind of adds up. The first set of pilings I stopped at, I could see fish all up and down the piling. There's a fish. Probably a tog. He's swimming straight up to us. Yep, little tog. Ooh, that is not how you release a fish. There we go. I'm going to try and drift it back through these pilings. Kind of let it kind of slowly bounce off the bottom. Kind of look like a crab running away. Oh, I picked it up and dropped it. Alright, let's try dropping it here to start. Not many days in October that I'm out here barefoot, but I'm taking advantage of it because I think of all those long cold months of having to finagle a dry suit, like 1,000 pounds of layers of clothing just to stay warm. There we go. I think it might be a tog. Usually a sheep will give you a little bit of a better fight than a little tog. Even the little sheep. It's funny, a sheepshead this size would give a better fight than a tog of this size. But some of the best fighting fish I've ever caught were big tog. These pilings seem to be producing, so I don't want to move from them just yet. I mean, you could, I don't know if you could tell, but the wind is starting to get where they forecasted it. You can't really, it's not as bad where I'm at because I'm being blocked by structure. If I were 5 feet to my left or 5 feet to my right, I'd be getting tossed around right now. In fact, I just saw a little Carolina skiff out here kind of doing the same thing we're doing and just getting bounced around on the other side of this. This is like one of those things I would recommend a kayak for this type of fishing on a windy day, because you have less area you need to hide and it's a lot easier to maneuver, in my opinion. There's another tog. Oh no, I spoke too soon, man. You're supposed to be in the ocean now, sea bass. Alright, I'm gonna go against what you should normally do. If something's working, you shouldn't change. But I'm gonna drop a mud crab down. I'm kind of curious to see if it makes a difference. If we can get into some more sheep. This guy's borderline big enough to split. Problem is, when you get one that size where it's in between, I'd rather split it rather than put a whole one on, just because typically I think the bite-sized pieces are easier for them rather than like the ones that they have to kind of pick at. But I could be wrong, man. It's just a kind of a guess. The other day when I was fishing for sheep, that's all we used was mud crabs, and it was one of the better days I can remember in a while. And what's weird, man, sheepshead aren't picky. You know what I mean? You put a crustacean in front of them, they will eat it. But there are days, though, where I've been out here with my friend and we'll try different crabs side by side. And it's funny, man, some days, like, certain baits work better than others. I guess it's just whatever mood the fish is in. nasty out here right now. There we go. Tog. Sure feels like a tog. Could be a sheep actually. Yeah, maybe a sheep. No, tog. And I gotta pedal my way forward because I can't get caught in this. If I drift back 20 feet, I'll end up being in some troubled water. Drop it in between. I'm in my little slice of paradise right here, this 3x6 area that kind of keeping me able to fish. I mean, you can see waves on either side of me, and what's crazy is those waves aren't even bad just because they're residuals coming off of the bridge. I'm like looking up ahead and decent sized waves through the channel. And honestly, if today was a wind against tide, I probably wouldn't even have came out because that had just been torture. At least the tide and wind are working together right now. If this was a wind against tide, it'd be like easily 2-foot waves in the bay right now. Wow, what did I just hook? That's definitely got to be another sheep. Yeah, I think. Yeah, nice tog. That's a mondo. Shoo-wee. Do the process of pedaling and get this guy back in. That's a keeper. Yeah, it's a keeper sized tog here in New Jersey. One of the questions I normally get with fiddlers is, do you leave the claw on? Personally, I do. Some guys don't. Sometimes I think it definitely adds to the appeal of the crab. Some people claim that if you don't rip the claw off, the fish will pick it off by the claw. And I'm not denying that can't happen, but sometimes I like to keep it on. Don't get me wrong, there's days where I'll rip them off. If I'm short on bait, like if I know I don't have enough bait to get through the day, I'll actually rip the claws off, keep them separate. And when I get into desperation times, that's when I'll throw them on the jig rather than the whole crab. There we go. Oh, what did I lose? Man, I just lost something really nice. Don't know what. Don't want to speculate because I have no idea. There's a fish. Wow. What did we just hook there? Flounder maybe? Tog probably. Yeah. Had a weird hit first. I don't know why I thought a flounder. Should have known better.